did it feel to be out there after being off the court for such a long time?
Felt really good. And, I really, really missed competing, and being able to go out there and get a win on top of it was amazing.
What did it feel like when it wasn't going as amazing today? I mean, just because, is that just sort of rust?
Yeah, I think so, but I also think, I wanted that first match back to be a win so badly, and I was so excited. I think I kind of just got ahead of myself.
Were there things that were being on court that felt surprisingly unfamiliar, or did it just all lock right back in?
It would feel like there was a couple of points where it's like, oh, okay, and then I was like, oh, that was rusty. So yeah, I think just kind of finding that rhythm and that groove again is coming back slowly, but, I think I'm kind of figuring it out.
Have you ever been in this sort of position before where now you've had some time off and now you kind of have to recapture that?
No, I don't think I've had longer than 3 weeks off since I was 4. So
maybe
this
the
is a
rest
different
is good.
feeling. Different feeling for me.
But how do you handle that, though?
It wasn't like I really had an option. So it was, this is what's happening. How am I going to, do the best that I can with this? I think I did a good job. I got to see a lot of family and kept busy and was able to do rehab and practice as often as I could. And, I'm just really happy to be back.
Madison, can you talk through just, finding out that you might, the injury was an issue, and then needing to kind of have surgery, and then the rehabilitation process afterwards? Give us some insight into that whole section of time.
Well, I actually injured it at 2015 U.S. Open. And yeah, it was a long time ago. And, kind of just managed it for a while. And then I think it was after Wimbledon, I found out it's not going to go away, and that I was going to need surgery to fix it. And then so the original plan was, okay, after U.S. Open, get it done, be ready for Australian Open. And then after U.S. Open, I was 9 in the race to Singapore. And to me, I was like, there's no way you're going to get me off of a tennis court right now. So then it was, okay, we're going to do everything we can to get to Singapore. And then if you don't make Singapore, we'll call it there. If you do, which I did, I got home the 30th or the 31st, and I had surgery November 2nd.
So the idea of trying to manage it, you're injured, but you're trying to put off surgery. What kind of compromises did you have to make in terms of your game and what you do? Were there things that maybe you had done before and now all of a sudden you sort of have to tweak things just to stay on the court?
I don't think I really compromised my game. If anything, it made me play my game better, looking more for forehands, doing what I could, maybe not going for the winner down the line from 16 feet behind the baseline, playing a little bit smarter. But more than anything, it really helped me. I think it made me a lot mentally tougher, knowing it's going to hurt, it's, going to be tough, but just wanting to make Singapore that badly, I was just going to do everything that I could to get there.
You feel 100%.
Go ahead.
Are you 100% now? Is it close? 90%, 80%?
I would say, it's, completely healed. It's just getting the strength back, being able to get through multiple matches, things like that. That's where I think it's, 80%. But, again, I haven't been able to play a full match since Singapore. So, this week is kind of a good test to see where it is, and, hopefully it's perfect and I can just keep building off of it.
You're working with Lindsay again, and I'm wondering have there been any changes in terms of, the first time you worked together, she was so busy with her family, she couldn't give you the time that you wanted. How is that working out now?
I think we both came to the table knowing what I could give, what she could give, all of that, and I've been lucky that I've also had the help of USTA in Orlando. So the weeks that she can't do, I have a really good base to go home to and practice there. So that's been really good, and I think we know what to expect.
What is it about your relationship with Lindsay that makes it work well and wanting her back?
I think we're similar in a lot of ways. We understand each other, and you know, it's always just so nice to have someone who gets it and understands. And you know, even today at 5-4, she came out. She's like, "You're good. You're fine." You know, and just having that relationship, I think, is really special.
How tough was it for you to be home during the Australian Open?
It was tough. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. And you know, Australian Open's one of my favorite places, and just the whole Australia swing. So missing that was really tough, and to be completely honest, I didn't watch much of it. But more than anything, it just made me want to come back to the court as quick as possible.
Discover any off-court pleasures away from tennis while you were out?
I was really busy, honestly. I visited some family in Aspen. I was in Hawaii with Lindsay for a bit. I went to Cabo for Thanksgiving. It's kind of all over the place. So it was kind of nice to live a normal life for a bit. And then after about 2 months, I was like, okay, I'm over it. Like, I'm ready to get back to my life.
There's a number of players playing with what I call the gratitude effect, being they're away from the game for a while, they're coming back. And you see Roger, you see Venus, a number of people. Are you getting anything like that from your time away in terms of your perspective with the game and what it means to you?
For sure. I mean, walking out there today, I was almost started crying, and it's just so great to be back, and we do get to do what we love, and I think that's really special. And I think sometimes we get really caught up in the winning and the losing and rankings and all of that, and at the end of the day, we get to play a sport that we love for our jobs, and just this whole time has made me realize how truly blessed I am to be able to do that.
Can you talk about the next match, the next opponent? Obviously, you guys have pretty tricky match in the U.S. Open last year. So can you talk about Naomi?
It's going to be a tough match, and U.S. Open was obviously a crazy match. She played really well at times. I think I played well at times. And she's a big hitter. She goes for shots. She's a really great player, and it's going to be tough, and I'm going to have to go and talk to everyone and figure out a good game plan.
Did you feel for her in the stadium, in that big stage environment, Ash Stadium? It's a new opportunity for her, obviously, and it just starts to slip away. Are you just in the moment trying to come back, or do you feel for her?
How do I answer that question without sounding badly? Did I feel for her? Yes. Was I really happy that I won? Yes. And that was one of those moments where I kind of realized, it was like, I'm the more experienced person here. Like, I'm using my experience when that's happened to me. So, I mean, she's going to learn from that, and she's going to do it to someone else one day. So, kind of felt for her, but...
But as a professional, really, that's when you see her in tears, this is when you really got to drive it home and finish, right?
Yeah, that's part of the sport. When you see the other person getting nervous or overwhelmed and things like that, that's when you got to focus on yourself and know, you really got to put the pressure on her, and, she's feeling it, she's a bit nervous, and you just have to focus in that much more.
At that point, are you playing yourself more to stay in it rather than your opponent?
I think you can, and I think in a way you almost have to remind yourself, she's feeling overwhelmed, don't overplay. Make her play, make her feel the pressure, get the balls back in. So I think there's a delicate balance between keeping the pressure on and also still going for your shots.
Not to be overly negative, but today, second set.
First match back in 4 months.
Yeah, but
Okay.
but in that situation, are you kind of concerned that, okay, I'm letting her back into the match, that she's gaining confidence at my expense, or?
I was just trying to close out the match, to be honest with you.
Hey, Madison, have you ever talked to Naomi? I mean, do you read her stuff? Do you see how funny she can be?
I see her tweets and stuff, and it's hilarious because she walks around the locker room and she's really shy and she's really reserved, and then I'll see someone retweet something, and I'm just like, all right, like, there we go. So it's really cool to see, you know, that I think it just kind of shows that, you know, maybe the way that we are around our competitors or, you know, just in this environment is not always the way that we actually are.
But you're kind of wide open, and I would think in the locker room, doesn't she, have you talked to her much?
I've talked to her a little bit. I've talked to her in Boca when we practiced, and I mean, me being like the outgoing personality and like trying to talk to her, and she's like, okay. Like in her head, I'm sure she's like, she's a total freak.
Last question?
Madison, were you surprised then, given, you know, knowing that you went into last season, that you had this wrist issue, that you did what you did last season? Was there ever a point where you're like, huh, okay.
It kind of hit me like more in Asia, where it was really kind of starting to bug me and become more painful and all of that. And there were some times when I would hit a backhand and I'd hit a winner, and I was just like, huh, all right then. Guess it still works.
Thank you.
Thanks.